Very good, Blair. Well done. Keep it long. I can see the baby's head. Come on. Really hard. Excellent. Well done. Well done.
Did I tell you?
Well done. Well done. Very well.
Hi guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's Mac.
And Blair.
And listen, I know you can tell by the title, we're very happy because the twins are here. But listen, we want to tell you everything about how we got to this point with us having now a family of 6 and 2 tiny little ones to go along with it.
Yeah.
I want to warn you that the story's a little rough and then it gets easy and gets happy. So what are your thoughts initially, Blair?
I'm happy that the pregnancy is over and my babies are here now, and on to the next stage, which is having everybody in the same house, in the same room at the same time, and how that goes.
Yeah. So that's where we are right now. But I want to go back and really give you the story of those last couple of days of how things transitioned. If you remember, if you followed along with this pregnancy journey at all, it started out, we were shocked to find out that we were having twins, totally unexpected.
Yeah.
And if you haven't watched those videos, go back and look at those. I recorded my first video right after Blair told me we were having twins, and we've kind of followed through the whole pregnancy journey up to this point. But as we got towards the end of it, and really I was, an observer for a lot of this, but it started to take a heavy toll on you.
Like I've been saying before, I'm not the best at saying like, oh, stuff is bothering me or whatever. And as the pregnancy kept going on, things were happening outside of what I'd seen traditionally happen in my pregnancies. Namely, for one, I was looking like a whole nother person below my waist, as in I had started swelling so much that it was just, it made everything uncomfortable. It made walking, standing, sitting, just name something, it was uncomfortable. Our bed is probably like 2 inches off the floor, and it was hard to get my leg up on the bed to like get in the bed. So it was just,
yeah,
it was everything.
It was bad. And so because Blair's swelling was so extensive, we actually ended up getting referred to another medical practice and working with another set of doctors. And that created a bit of a situation for us because now we were back and forth between here and London. And as things would progress, and not in a good way, we ended up spending more and more time in London. And we were working between London and the medical staff and NHS, and they were all communicating with each other, it was going back and forth. But it was made the determination to get this pregnancy over with as quickly as possible, because it had reached a point to where the pregnancy, the objective is to keep everyone alive, happy and safe, healthy and safe, right? So it reached a point to where the pregnancy was taking a really negative toll on Blair's body. The swelling was extensive, her movement was down. There were concerns about preeclampsia, which you were being tested for almost constantly. Yeah. Actually, you reached a point right there at the end, you were having to call in your vitals. Twice a day?
Twice a day to the doctor. And yeah, it was just a lot of monitoring going on towards the end, and we ended up being induced.
Yeah. But before that, the last day at home, we got an induction date. So let's say it's Wednesday, we got an induction date, which would be for I think Saturday or so. But Friday morning was rough.
Right.
Because you woke up, Blair woke up, she started eating, she was sitting down, she was eating breakfast, and then you started vomiting.
Yeah, I started vomiting, and that went on for about an hour or two.
She says an hour. Yeah,
it was an hour or two.
Yeah, it was an hour or two, and we contacted the midwife. We're contacting the medical staff down in London, and it just was looking really. It looked like we may not make it to London, because if this was the pregnancy starting, then we were going to go to the local hospital that we've been working with. So, and we were right there on the verge of calling it. We talked to the staff down there, and then after a little while, you laid down and you went to sleep.
Right.
And you slept most of the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But we knew at this point that it was close. We knew that the babies were going to come on any day now, either induced or natural.
Right.
They were on their way out. But you slept through the whole day. The contractions that had also started that day, because it also was it was vomiting and contractions happening at the same time, guys.
Right.
It was pretty hectic, because at this point I'm grabbing strollers, I'm grabbing car seats.
Yeah.
We're making sure bags are packed. We'll make sure we have everything that we need to go to the hospital. And I'll break here for just a moment, because this is one of those areas where it's different between the UK and the US, where in the UK you have to take everything for your baby to the hospital with you.
Yeah, and in the US, a lot of things are provided, like blankets, diapers, diapers or nappies, wipes, any kind of food, any kind of assistance you might need with food. All of that is provided for you at the hospital. As far as things that I would have to take, my gown, all of that, I hadn't packed any of that.
Yeah,
and explaining to people where stuff was.
So in between vomiting, she was
and
issuing
contractions
vomiting and contractions. She was issuing commands. No, I don't want this outfit. I want that outfit. Go get this onesie. And Blair and her mama and we were scrambling. Getting suitcases downstairs, trying to make sure we had everything packed up. What do we need for the little boy? What do we need for the little girl? How would this outfit look? And so that day was hectic.
Yes.
It was a hectic day before you laid down and went to sleep.
Yes. So much so I cannot remember what I ate for dinner that night. No clue.
We weren't encouraging a lot of food.
No.
We weren't. It was a rough day.
Let's
just be completely honest. That was a very rough day. I had a lot of concerns about Blair's health. Seeing her in that shape was not comfortable. She was very uncomfortable. We were timing contractions. We just call it, I guess, a pre-birth pregnancy. It was just a rough day, guys.
Yeah.
That was a rough day.
And just so you know, we've kind of seen these things before as well, but every pregnancy is different, and how they show in every pregnancy, it's very different. Like, we had a similar occurrence with our daughter where I went into what we thought was labor, but it stopped eventually.
Yeah, it did stop. And so, but this was not that.
This was not that.
This was so much more. This was so much more than, I'm having contractions. And the vomiting was pretty aggressive. The whole day was pretty rough. Okay, that day finally ends, and I've lost track of time because it's a little hazy already. Yeah. But somewhere between that day, Friday, Saturday, early Sunday morning, I think it was, we packed up the car and we drove down to London.
Right.
We had a 8 a.m. showtime for induction in London. So we drove down. The contractions had stopped. Blair still was moving incredibly slowly, was still having a lot of issues with pain, but the contractions had stopped for the time being, and the vomiting had stopped. So it's 8 a.m. We're in the hospital. Blair's in the bed. She's attached and hooked up to all the gadgetry, and that's when the process starts of trying to monitor the baby's heart rates, which was difficult because, again, it's twins. There's two of them in there, and they had to call in another doctor to try to find them, because at this point the babies are shifting. Right? They were moving. The little boy was over here, the little girl was over there, and they had to call another doctor because they couldn't get the heart rates. We couldn't find both. And so that got a little tense for a few minutes as well. Yeah. As we were dealing with that.
They did find the second heartbeat, so we were able to put the monitors where they needed to go. And then my doctor came in. She talked to me about what was going to happen next, about how we were going to start actual contractions going. I was 4 centimeters.
Yeah, she checked. You were 4 centimeters dilated.
Yeah.
And then they started you on a drip.
On a drip, yeah.
And from that point, things there was a peaceful, quiet period when it's early morning in London. It was a beautiful sunny day. Sun was up, and it was just a light breeze. And for a moment there, it was quiet. It was you knew this was the quiet before the storm. You knew that things were going to take off from there. But there was a period of I won't quite call it quite quiet reflection, but that's kind of what it felt like. Yeah. Kind of quiet reflection.
Quiet reflection. Things were getting ready to change. So I remember They're going to start more.
Yeah, and then they're about to start the drip, which is going to increase contractions.
Yes.
So this is the quiet before the storm.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you were just instructed by the nurse to eat porridge and avocado and toast.
Carbohydrates.
Yeah,
Yes.
carbohydrates, carbs.
Yes.
She said you're gonna need the energy.
So, I remember the contractions picking up, but they weren't too bad or anything like that. They were manageable, and I was like, okay, contractions.
Yeah, they had asked if you wanted to have an epidural.
Yeah.
No, they weren't recommend. Well, they told you to eat breakfast because we got there early. So you ordered a breakfast.
Yeah.
But then I don't think you ate hardly any of it.
I ate a little bit.
They ate a little
'cause then
bit.
Contractions.
Yeah, the contractions kicked in, and they asked if you wanted the epidural, and you were like, "No, not yet. I want to feel pain first."
Yes. Like, I need to feel a little pain before we go all the way.
The doctors looked at you and was like, "Okay, if that's what you want."
I've always heard that the epidural is worse if you don't feel any pain, then you have to feel the whole epidural process. So I don't want to feel the epidural process. I just want to know that I really needed this epidural. But I also know that I have to ask for it early enough so that you'll still give it to me, because I don't really want to push 2 babies out by myself. So, and feel all of that. I don't want to feel all of that. I don't need that experience in my life.
Well, you had it once.
I
because
did.
Our second, there was no epidural.
I don't remember anything about that birth, but okay.
It was quick.
It was very quick.
It was very quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was.
There was no epidural for our second.
Hey, baby. Oh, I'm sorry. I know. Mommy needs an epidural because oh, I don't know.
You
why
did
I
it,
so
though.
wanted natural birth.
You did it. You did it. You want to cut the cord?
Second. There's no- So we're sitting there. You get the epidural.
Yes.
The doctor comes back in. It's in between contractions now, and there was a really great midwife in the room because she had stayed in the room the whole morning because she was literally chasing the babies around. On Blair's stomach, as the babies would move, she would literally just sit there and shift her hand so she could keep those heartbeats, so the monitors would continue to monitor. And I think she did that for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
She stood there, but she was when the contractions really got tight and hard for you. She one thing you don't know that she did. So there was a period where because there was doctors and a lot of people in the room, and you were having contractions, and you were leaning forward with the epidural, and she was there, and the doctor was on one side, and the doctor doing the epidural was there, and she actually reached over and she just took my hand, and you didn't even know this happened. She took my hand and she put my hand in your hand.
I didn't know whose hand that was, but
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. She took my hand, and I was just kind of standing around, like, I don't know what to do, right? It's kind of, I'm like, I don't want to get in anyone's way, the professionals' way. They were there, and they were all kind of surrounding Blair, but she just kind of politely grabbed my hand and put my hand in Blair's hand, and then she kind of like, you stand here, and so she kind of got me in place. And after the epidural, you went to sleep. I don't know if you remember that. It took a little while because there were some hard contractions after that.
Yeah. Sounds about right to me. I mean, yeah, this is what happens. This is how the epidurals usually go with me. I'm there for a little bit, then I'm out. I'm like, oh.
And so when Blair went to sleep, because you won't know this at all.
Nope.
When you went to sleep, I stepped out of the room and I went to talk to the doctors and the nurses in the hallway. And I said, hey, is it okay if I run downstairs real quick? And they said, yeah, sure, go ahead. You go downstairs and come right back up.
Okay, so it's about 2 hours later now. Blair's eating some breakfast. They're taking so much blood from her. But the nurses and midwives are doing a great job with her, and there are a lot of them in the room. They need a little space. So they sent me down to her other room where she's gonna do the recovery after she's in the delivery room. I'm in the recovery room, and it's a nice little spot. Let me show it to you. Okay, there's the door, there's television. Nice little place to get herself made up there. That's cool. I've never seen that in a hospital room before. This is gonna be her bed. This is gonna be my couch. I'm excited about that. And restroom. I'm sure we've all seen the restrooms before. Loos. The view is not as good from down here, but we will have the little ones here, so we'll have plenty of great things to look at.
And I went downstairs, and within minutes of going downstairs, a nurse comes running in to find me and is like, hey, you need to get back upstairs right now. The babies are on the way. And I'm like, hold on, I just left. Like, she went to sleep. The epidural, she went to sleep. Everything's, it's just supposed to be because I told like, oh, the epidural's gonna be this period. Because I think you were like, I can't remember if you were 8 centimeters that when they tested you, but they were like, oh, it's gonna be a little while. And I asked, I did ask, and they said, hey, yeah, it's gonna be a while. And I'm thinking I had time, like, okay, maybe go get a coffee or something. And I go downstairs and they come find me.
Yeah, so I do remember this part actually. And I was like, I didn't know I had actually fallen asleep. I thought it was everything gets real hazy after an epidural, y'all. So I remember hearing the conversation. He's like, oh, I'm gonna go downstairs for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, sure, fine, whatever. I remember talking to my doctor. She told me, oh, it'll be another 30, 45 minutes. Don't worry about it. You got time. And then the next thing I know, it was like, oh, maybe not. Maybe we need to go get your husband so we can go ahead and do this.
Yeah, so I come back into the room, and it's battle station, right? It's all hands on deck, because when I left, it was quiet, it was peaceful. There was a midwife. The doctor had stepped out. There was one midwife who was in the room. Because at this point, I don't think Blair was in a room at any point by herself. I mean, there was always a midwife, at least a midwife in the room. When I come back in the room, there's equipment all over the place. There's the beds that the baby's going to go into once they're born. There was the beds there. There's a doctor over here, doctor over there. And Blair's, the delivering doctor, she mentioned like, there's going to be a doctor for each baby. To make sure that each baby's okay. And she says, I have Blair, and there's a doctor for each baby. And I come back in the room, and there's doctors there, and this is just, it's hectic, right? Mm-hmm. And what's happening, and everything is getting set up. And then we go into this.
Very good, Blair. Well done. Keep it long. I can see the baby's head. Come on. Really hard. Excellent. Well done. Well done.
Did I tell you?
Well done. Well done. Very well.
So after just a few minutes of that push, the babies are coming out, and so I feel like it was so quick.
It was quick.
Baby boy was born. Yeah. And I go over, and the doctor have him over on the the little table, and they're wiping him off, and they're doing the things that they need to do. And I'm just standing there and I'm filming this, like, oh my gosh. And I'm thinking, because they had told us before the pregnancy started that it's typical that there'll be a period, like the first twin will be born. Yeah. And then like 30 minutes.
Yeah, we'll have time.
Yeah, there'll be time.
This time thing.
Yeah, before I could even get over there, and they're like, oh, Dad, you want to cut the umbilical cord? I've never done this before with any other kids. I'm like, hey, why not? They're twins. I'll do it. I'm cutting the umbilical cord, and I'm hearing this high-pitched scream. As the second baby is delivered, like, whoa, let me get back over here to get to the other one. And it was 3-4 minutes in between, maybe 5 minutes in between them. I mean, it was just pop really quick. The first baby was born, then the second one. That was it. They came out screaming loud, doing everything you want to hear. 10 fingers, 10 toes.
And she's a trooper.
Yeah, and so there's the after, the doctors doing all the stuff that had to happen there, and everyone checked out fine. Mm-hmm. And it's so crazy because the way it goes, I've done this. This was the 5th birth, right? The last with the twins, but the room is empty. Then there's like a ton of people in the room. It's loud. It's hectic. Then.
Whoosh, nobody.
Like high fives go around, and dad, and then somehow magically everyone leaves the room without you even noticing, and then it's just you and maybe in this case it was us, a midwife, and the babies.
You're like, okay, there's 2 of them. Like, there's really 2 of them. Cause I mean, I get it. I've been seeing ultrasounds this whole time, and I've been feeling stuff this whole time. But yeah, still the whole, oh, you're having 2 babies. That wasn't still like really, really real to me until like there's 2.
Yeah.
And I'm holding 2.
That's my take on kind of how it went. That's what I was feeling.
Yeah.
What were you feeling during that, from epidural starting through the rest of it? Because I just told you what I felt. How was it for you? Sorry, I got excited, but how did you feel during that last part, the last phase?
Yeah, I was really excited. I was very happy to get the epidural. Didn't realize that I thought I hadn't slept because I didn't feel like I had slept, or maybe I did feel like I had slept. I don't know. Bad understanding of time at that point. I had no understanding. So that happened, and then I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna have the babies now? Okay, sure, let's have the babies now. Push, how do I push? Can you tell me how to push again? Because I don't remember how to push. So the doctor told me, I did it a couple of times, and then she's like, oh, look, here's the baby, here's one. And I'm like, wow, there's a baby on me. I got to look at him, see him, I was like, oh, okay, cool. And like he said, Mac went with him to make sure everything was right, count toes, make sure, everything's going well. And then she's like, okay, we need to do this. And then, okay, I need you to push again. I was like, push already? Oh, okay. So I pushed again. I think I pushed one more time. And then you heard this squeal. That we've told people about our daughter making a squeal similar to this, and nobody believes that story. But this time,
yeah, we got it. we got it. I was recording sound in the room, and we got it.
Yeah. And like talking about silencing the whole room, like what is going on? They're like, no, she's fine. She's just ours. She's ours. She squealed. I saw her. I was like, oh, look, she's squealing.
Yeah, so now we have twins.
They're twins.
And so we spent the next couple days in the hospital because the complications with Blair did not immediately go away.
No, the swelling went down temporarily, like during birth, and then it came back. And then it was just trying to figure out how to get it off. They were like, "Oh, it should go away in a day or two, which
they ran a lot of tests though.
Yeah.
Because they brought in a cardiologist, EKG. There was a lot of tests run to try to make sure that this was not something more serious or something else, just underlying something else. So there was, I will gladly say it was uncomfortable because they come in, we got set up at, I think it was 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, we were in one.
And they were like, hey, let's go to EKG. Or was it, which one? It was one of those tests. And it was like 11 o'clock at night. Like, hey, let's go do this test.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
It's late. It's like now? And they're like, yeah.
Sleep,
yeah. They're like, no, the equipment's open now.
Let's go.
Let's go. And so you out. And they left me in the room with the babies because they're in the little baby, those little trolley thing that they kind of wheel them around in, and they left me with both of them, and I was holding one, and then the other one started to cry, and this was my first time of trying to figure out how do you hold one baby, and then pick up another, and I finally worked that out. And they're tiny, right? They're really small. And still, I'm trying to figure out how to work this out and hold one and then hold the other. And then I finally got holding both of them. And then someone opens the door and there's a nurse coming in for something. I can't help you. I can't. I'm completely incapacitated here.
Baby fine.
Yeah. And then a couple hours later, you come back. And so then they moved us to another room. That was a long night.
Yeah.
They moved us to another room because they wanted to put Blair under more careful monitoring. So they moved us to a room where she could be monitored more closely. And they really, I credit the medical staff there for really pouring everything. I felt like they poured everything they had into making sure that Blair was okay. Of course, the pediatrician was coming in checking on the babies constantly as well, every few hours. But they really put that extra effort in to make sure that you were well.
Right. When I went for my test, yeah, that was the test was a different kind of experience. I'd never had one of those done before, and I was thankful to the specialist who told me, oh, this is what this feels like, and this is how this is gonna feel next, and then this, and then this, and I was like, okay. And she told me that. I was very, very thankful for her for telling me that, because if I had just experienced that by myself, no test results would have happened that night, because, yeah. Went back to the room, and I remember apologizing to her because I said every kind of explicative in that, and I was like, you can hear that? Oh, I'm so sorry.
So a day ago, you gave birth to these two twins.
Yes.
How does that feel?
I'm glad that they're here now. I'm very happy that they're here. It's nice to get to know their personalities and see them outside the womb, to see like the movements like I've been feeling, to see like what were they doing. It's just nice to get to see them and to learn more about their personalities. So
at that point, it was more classic things happening. There's this birth period and everything is kind of normal. It's the normal things that happen. There's the afterwards, and then because we gave birth in London, now this is where it gets different. This is where you're separating the U.S. from the U.K.
Yeah.
We actually had to go register our babies. They were born, and we had to go register them in Westminster because that's where they were born,
right,
in that region, in that area. And so we had to leave the hospital, and the nurses said, we got them. We left, took a taxi, went, registered the babies. I was excited because kids registered in Westminster. I just thought that was so cool. I was really excited about that. So we registered, then we went and got a bite to eat.
Yeah.
Because this was the first. The hospital food was good, but it's
good, but
still hospital food, right?
Hospital food.
And so we went and got a bite to eat, and then we came back, and then we checked out.
Yeah.
And we came home, and then it was the introduction of the kids.
Yes,
We got home, it was late. It was late before we got home, but no one went to bed. Blair's mom was up, the kids were up, they were all on the couch, and we brought the babies in, and they were so shocked.
Yeah.
At how small the babies were. And we were like, hey, you guys, you used to be that small as well. And so, yeah, that was
really different.
Yeah.
Because, we hadn't thought about how the kids would react to the new babies, because it just wasn't a thought to us, because we'd done it before, but we'd never done it before where it was this much of an age gap, so they can really see and understand how small the babies were. Like before, when you hand them a baby, the baby was like half their length, so they couldn't tell.
So every other child we had, it was about a year and a half, so in between them. So, when we had Blakely first, and then when Trey came along, Blakely was only like a year and a half old, and then there was Braden a year and a half after that. So the kids were all still young, still stair steps, still really young. But this time there's a 5-year gap in between, and our youngest is 6, and they get older from there. That's it, right? That's the pregnancy journey. Now starts the next journey of how do we adjust to having 2 new people in our home. Already it's different because we're used to having 1 baby crying, and now there's 2, and it's not even about just crying.
Right.
It's everything. It's crying, it's diaper changes, it's feeding, it's
who needs a bath, it's all of it. It's 2 of everything every time. So that's definitely an adjustment. And also then learning their personalities. Before you only had to learn 1 baby at a time. Now we're learning 2.
Yeah, we can already tell that there are differences in personality. Not so much based on gender, but just based on personality. These are 2 different, they're not identical twins, but they're great little babies. They're wonderful. But we're adjusting, and hey guys, we're gonna switch this from a birth journey, and now we'll switch it over to adjusting to twins, and kind of how it's like this first year adjusting to twins. We just went from a family of 6 to a family of 8. Yeah, family of 8 now. We had to get new family photos taken
Yeah.
where we bring everyone in. We hope to have you along, so be sure to like, subscribe, follow along with us as we go through that part of the journey. But this has been the pregnancy part of it, and it ended as best as it could possibly be. How do you feel? Final thoughts. How do you feel about it? The whole journey and process up to this point.
I'm very happy with it. I mean, I'm here. The babies are here. So I don't have any issue with that. I love what my family is turning into. I love seeing the kids get to care for their new baby brother and baby sister. It's a beautiful thing, and I can't wait for what's more in store.
Yeah, guys. Hey, if you have any questions specifically, ask it. Blair will try to answer those, and if it's enough of them, we may do a Q&A through this last period. But we're transitioning now to being a family of 8, learning the babies and just kind of getting to know them as individuals and accepting them into the family. And we do appreciate all of your comments that we had up to this point and concerns, so it is greatly appreciated. But I think that's it.
Yeah,
That's it. All right, guys. Until the next time, take care.
Take care.